right, we're in the car this morning. It is the Jon and Tara Marital Arts podcast. Woo!
We should have like a sound effect that is like it's like a hi-ya smooch. It's like starts out like you think you're just gonna say, whew.
Okay.
And is,
I'll do the smooch, you do the hi-ya. So, 1, 2, 3.
Wah! Is that it? Did we do it?
I don't know. We'll find out.
It?
Let's do another one.
Okay.
You just go hoya.
Hoya!
Maybe that's
I had to do the motion.
Yeah, you did. I saw your hand.
Yeah. But yours was jutsa or something?
Oh, I did the 1-inch punch, yeah.
The 1-inch punch,
Yeah.
it wasn't a karate chop. Just for those who want to know what the gesture is. Yeah.
And we are in the car, and we may not edit out the background noise because you were saying what earlier?
Well, someday it might be very, very nostalgic to hear a podcast or just anything with a gas engine sound in the background.
Yeah. So roaring engine. I'll give you a sample.
Nice.
Woo.
Nice sample.
That is the 400 plus horsepower of the V8 engine in the Sequoia.
Sequoia.
Yeah. We are driving in our Toyota Sequoia. It's got a 350 V8, a 5.7 V8, and we call it the Sequoia.
Because it's huge.
Because it is gigantor.
Yep.
So we're heading out to drop off some parts, some very critical parts for a medical company at a facility where I have them micro weld some of our designs together because we have very creative designs. And before we get there, we're going to stop at the coffee shop. We're going to stop at the coffee shop. We're going to get what's hot. Tara's going to get a kombucha.
I don't know if I'm going to get a kombucha.
I don't know. That's usually what you get at the coffee shop.
Yeah.
Just trying to put together a rhyme.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
A little rapadoodle.
I was trying to look up.
You're not supposed to be on your phone while we're pee-casting.
What?
That would be the general consensus, unless it's something for the peyote cast.
Yeah, I'm going to get the actual horsepower of this vehicle.
I believe it's 410. It might be 375.
No, it's in the. I'm pretty sure it's in the 400s.
I think it's 4,029. Because every time I hit the gas, I watch the gas gauge go down. It is a very impressive engine. I'm impressed. I've had V8s most of my life, and this one's got the juice. It's got a power band at 3,500 that is really impressive.
We got it specifically because we got a camper, and
Kathy, you won't believe what we got. We got a camper.
Camper. Should probably tell them about the inside joke.
Well, where do you live? We live in Minnesota. We take the camper out to the lake and we go out in the boat.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. We campfire at night. Everybody's gonna be like, what in the hell just happened to John? What's the inside joke?
How I actually heard someone say, "Oh, Kathy, wouldn't you know?" I was in a Target, which they're not everywhere apparently, but it's kind of a general. They have grocery and then they have household goods. And in the next row over, I literally hear this woman on the phone going, "Well, Kathy, you just wouldn't believe it." And yeah, we live in Minnesota. We're not in like the deepest, like if you were just to refer to the deep south and, you know, the thick accent there, we're not in the deep part of Minnesota with the strongest accent. So it kind of caught me off guard.
We're not up into frozen Nort, Tara.
Right. Nort. And it is Nort.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm going to leave this cast going while we walk into the coffee shop.
Really?
Yeah, get all the interactions at the coffee shop. Where we get what's hot. Tara gets a kombucha. I'm working it. I better write some notes.
You are really working.
Better write down my thoughts and my rhymes in rap form.
And while I'm waiting for my stats to come up, I'm
Yeah, that's
observing.
like the world's longest search.
It is. And I checked to make sure my Wi-Fi was off. And
Oh, your phone is. Oh, I see.
yeah.
Good grief.
But usually it is a lot faster.
So we don't have our coffee yet.
I actually have leftover cold coffee, which your coffee is even amazing cold.
Yeah,
This is from yesterday.
It's pretty spectacular. I'm going
really-
to take a little sip. So when it comes out of the fridge, what we do is we put the leftover in a mason jar, put it in the fridge, and then when you use it the next morning, you can warm it up in a pan, but you got to be careful because you could burn it. But what I do is I'll warm it up in the pan and I'll warm up the blender with some hot water from the tap, and then I'll dump out the hot water from the blender, and then I put the coffee in the blender after I warm it on the stove, and it's just kind of a nice hotter than less than normal coffee temperature, but hotter than room temperature because I like the butter blended. But if you shake it up good, it blends in pretty good.
And I just prefer it cold rather than trying to
Oh
heat
wow,
it up.
that is really good. That's a good batch.
Yeah. Oh, we were both wrong. It's actually 381 horsepower.
I said 375. I win the Showcase Showdown. I did not go over. I was
Got
only
it.
10 points away.
Oh, you might have been
Woo!
confusing it with torque. How much torque?
Yeah, it'd be a little less torque.
No, it's actually 401.
No, what? Holy cow. Got some gear ratio going on in this BI.
Yeah. But it is 5.7 liter. I
Wow.
think you did say that.
Okay, come on, cruise control. Well, one thing this vehicle has is radar on the cruise control. So you can set the cruise control at 110 and you come up to traffic and it slows you down to the speed of the traffic. But it has a little trouble reading when there's turn lanes and when you're on corners. So you got to be careful because all of a sudden your brakes go on.
So a little bigger than a 350. And you can tell that.
No, it's a 350. That's the displacement.
Oh.
350 cubic inches. You're talking horsepower. It's more
Yeah.
horsepower than 350. Yeah, that's why I said
350 cubic inches. Wow, that's okay.
Yes, 5.7 refers to the liters, so it's a 5.7 liter, 350 cubic inch. What?
But
Aren't you learning about cars today?
I'm learning about this one. But 5.7 isn't that more than 350 cubic inches?
5.7 liters is 350 cubic inches. You gotta talk here and do something.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't be searching on your phone the entire time. Get off the social media, Tara.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Oh wow, that's an old commercial. Yeah.
Wasn't that a show?
Well, anybody listen to our podcast would know about it. No, that's the National Enquirer. Inquiring minds want to know. Is that a show?
I thought it was like an investigative show or something. So obviously you can tell that I wasn't of full cognizant age I was only old enough to remember the phrase.
Were you still in the hypnagogic state?
Probably. So, yeah, I like my cool coffee in the mason jar. It's good.
Yeah. It's kind of when it's cool like that in the morning, it's really a sweet treat.
It is. Even I like it in the winter.
And there's not much sugar in it.
No, and that's actually what I really like about it. I mean, I like an iced coffee in the hot summer. That's sweet, but
Yeah.
otherwise I really don't care for sweet drinks.
But a cool coffee is, you might think it's cold and it's cooling, but I think it's warming. I mean, you got butter in there, so you got fat. You've got coffee, which gets your body moving, which generates heat, right? You get the caffeine. It's dilating those blood vessels, moving that blood. Can you feel the warming?
Caffeine actually constricts. I'm sorry.
Hey, look it up.
Mr. Justification.
Well, so your blood moves faster?
Yeah,
This is the Coffee Investigation Podcast,
Yeah.
brought to you by Jon and Tara.
J&T.
JT.
Okay.
Just in time. Okay, what?
So, what else?
Well, I don't know. We just turned on the phone. What normally would you want to talk about when we're in the car?
I think when we get in the car, I tend to go into business mode.
Yeah,
and
there's that.
It's a Tuesday morning, and I was up for a good couple hours while trying to go to bed, thinking about the stuff that I need to do. And so...
Well, you said you took ashwagandha last night for some odd reason, like before you went to bed.
It's supposed to actually regulate and decrease cortisol response.
Doesn't it also, isn't it like some sort of a sexual thing, aphrodisiac?
Well, it can, as a...
stimulant or something?
No, not necessarily a stimulant, but it's an endocrine regulator. And so,
yeah.
If that's how your body needs to be regulated.
So were you trying to get with me last night?
Hey.
Were you drugging yourself up to get with me?
Hey, it's natural.
It's natural. What do you mean it's natural?
You go passing the work trucks. They look like they're going to do a job together. The truck towing a Bobcat in the front.
Yeah, that was the, what'd you say, 385 horsepower?
81.
420 pounds of torque.
87.
487. What?
300.
387 pounds of torque.
No, 401.
Okay, 401.
381 horsepower, 401 torque. So
Yeah.
the engine ones.
Well, I gotta say, there's a little bit of passing power on this Squatchiota.
Yeah.
Not even pulling the camper. I bet you'd do the same thing pulling the camper. We'll try it out.
The torque is at 3,600 RPM, and the horsepower is at 5,600 RPM.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's a pretty high RPM, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maximum towing,
Well,
7,100.
that's where it kicks in, is about 3,500, I said. So 3,600, they're saying. Nice.
Yeah. It's got the metallic gray exterior, black interior, which I think is an awesome combo.
Yeah. Hides the dirt, shows the dust.
Yep, something like that. Oh, the other day the snow was melting, and so our gravel road was all sloppy, and I was even going really slow, and it still kicked up.
Oh, yeah. Well, you've got big wheels on this thing, so it's going to throw mud and muck farther.
Apparently, that's what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, good thing I didn't wash the vehicle. Yeah, I think it was a really good choice.
Yeah. Driving by an orchard here on Highway 7. What is this place called? Ashery Lane Farm.
Yeah.
They've been putting money into that place for the last 5-6 years.
Yeah.
And they've never opened up. It's interesting.
Well, I think the year they were going to open up was when COVID really opened up.
You think so?
I think so.
So they were going to showcase in 2020?
I think so. It looks like their trees are mature enough.
Yeah.
Well, they have apple trees and vines as well.
Grapes. Wine vines. I wonder if they're selling their grapes to other vineyards in the area, because they're not producing any wine as far as we know.
Well, they probably, if they were mature enough, I would imagine they would do their first vintage.
Yeah.
And maybe just hang on to it for the opening and
That's true.
the following year.
That's good. You're on point this morning.
Well,
I'm like,
it's
open
a way,
up those blood vessels
like
with
I said,
caffeine.
I think business right away in the morning. So I
your
thinking
brain
about
is
someone
going.
else's business is
easy.
par for the course.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
I was working this morning, so just running machines and popping out parts. And
Nice.
these are the parts we're taking to get welded. That seam right there. Some micro actuators.
Cool.
Yeah, they're gonna freak out when they see them. All the features are on that tip.
Yeah.
You can't see the features. We had to set up a microscope on the machine just to make sure that the end mill was still there. And then we displayed a bunch of that on LinkedIn, and I had a company call me, and they wanted to pay me to do an article, and I said, I'll trade you for product. I'll trade you double the amount you want to pay me in product, and they were excited for that.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, so instead of getting like 10 grand to do the article, I'm going to get 20 grand worth of product.
Great.
Yeah. And I said, I'll...
cutting tools?
Tool holders.
Tool holders, nice.
Yeah.
Either way, I mean, that's great.
Well, they're spendy little buggers. They're the most accurate ones on the planet, and we've got to have that, and they're in the range of $485 a piece.
Oh, so you'll get a really nice set.
We should get about 40, 50 holders.
Excellent.
Yeah, we need it really bad.
Nice. You get a fist bump for that.
Yeah, bumping knucks. That's knuckles.
Knucks.
Bumping knuckles, yeah. When you get all giggly, is that the ashwagandha coming out?
Probably. No, I think you can tell if I'm coming after you by which pajamas I wear.
Oh, hey now.
Well, we don't have to go any further.
That's revealing, jeez. Or which pajamas you're not wearing.
This is marital arts.
It is marital arts, okay.
Yes, so that is...
Well, let's get into it a little bit. If people have bared us this long, and they've stuck through the initial part of how long we've been going now, the first 16 minutes, then they deserve something, right?
True.
So let's start with the marital arts.
Yeah.
What is number one?
Patience.
That's
if you have
right.
the patience to get through 16 minutes,
well,
you get rewarded.
If you have the patience to get through getting married, that's a bonus.
You think,
right?
Well, the marriage process,
ours was simple.
Yeah,
ours
that's
was
what I was
very
going to say. That's
well, why don't we talk about that first?
Before the pajamas.
Well, we needed patience to deal with your family. And it started with you.
Well, we didn't realize what was yet to come.
Right.
But...
And we don't have to get deep into it unless you want to, but...
No, I think we'll have a separate something.
A special?
Yeah, that could be a breakout session kind of thing. Like, dealing with difficult family. Because I'm not about airing stuff,
yeah,
you know?
That could be the breakup podcast. So patience. Yeah. So how I asked you to marry me. Would you like to illustrate it, or would you like me to illustrate it?
I think we were having some snuggly time, and I don't mean that in air quotes, snuggly time on the futon.
Yes, we were actually snuggling.
Yeah.
Probably maybe watching a movie.
No, I don't think so.
Maybe not. I don't think I had a TV at that time.
No, you didn't. And we would talk to each other a lot. Imagine that. And I think
21 years later, you still got stuff to say.
I probably have more to say.
There's that.
And I think I might have even been sitting on you. And again, this is just, casual.
You're a powerful woman.
Saturday afternoon.
You were holding me down.
And you loved it.
I did. I loved it.
And you said, if I asked you to marry me, what would you say? And I said, I would say yes.
And how long were we together at this point?
We were together, we met in January, we started dating in June, and we got engaged, I think it was around September, and got married in November.
So we were together for 5 months. When we got married. But when I asked you to marry me, we got engaged in September, so 4 months.
Yeah, 3 or 4 months.
So was that pretty quick for you, or was that perfect?
Well, all the other times I was asked to get married, it was about that time frame. Yeah.
Oh man. I would have thought you got asked like on the first date.
Yeah, so you were slow to the...
I was slow as
yep.
molasses in January.
Yeah.
So you said, I said it's a particular thing. I said, if I asked you to marry me, what would you say?
Mm-hmm.
You said, I would say yes.
I would say yes.
And we went on to talk about other things.
Yep,
it wasn't
pretty much.
a jump in joy. I wasn't on one knee. I couldn't get up because you were on top of me.
Yeah.
And
my mistake,
And I planned the wedding, and we got married 2 months later.
Yeah, I would say you planned the wedding. I guess it was such a small wedding, essentially, yes.
I made sure everything was happening. I got the pastor. I told my parents I'm getting married.
Yep, and we didn't have much money at all, and we also didn't want to spend much money.
Right.
I think we both matched up on a lot of values, and one of them being like, it's about the marriage, not the wedding. And so your parents hosted. We got married in a park.
We got married in a park by a special tree.
By a special tree, yeah, because we had walked by, and it's a tree that's joined at the bottom and then divides.
Yeah. So it looks like two people standing together.
Yep. And joined at the hip.
Two people in one circle.
Yes. Oh. John, would you like to?
Oh, que romantico. This was way before we knew Matthew Wood. We got married in a park by a special tree outdoors in November. There was about 3 inches of snow on the ground.
And the date you chose actually was my grandpa's birthday, which you didn't know at the time.
I didn't know it.
But he had passed away that year.
Yep.
And that's another story about our grandpas.
Well, our grandpas were both passed away, and they brought us together, and we could tell that story on another podcast.
Yeah.
Yep. There are a lot of synchronicities
coppers are out
in the dates.
Getting people going to work.
Yeah. That's the second law enforcement
go to work.
person that we've seen.
Get them when they're coming home. They'll really be happy about that one. Let's see. And so your parents hosted. Your mom made the wedding dinner. We only had like 12, 15 people.
Probably 12 at the house after the wedding.
Yeah. Which, your mom is an amazing cook. Your claim to fame is that she puts Martha Stewart to shame. Making
Martha Stewart look like a truck stop cook.
And so putting on something that size was not, it was right up her alley.
Yep.
And we had chickens on the grill, so it's salt and pepper rotisserie chicken on the grill.
Oh my God, my mouth is watering.
And what was our wedding cake?
Nancy's Apple Crisp. Fabuloso. Everybody that ate over there that day that had never had my mom's food before was like, where are we? Oh my God. They were blown away and impressed, and said it was the best food they had ever had, and couldn't imagine any other kind of wedding food being even close. Mm-hmm. So that was really fun. And your grandma, let's immortalize your grandma. Your grandma showed up wrapped in a sheet.
Well, it was November, and
because
it was
cold out.
And apparently she hadn't brought a warm enough jacket, and it was by a river, so it probably was chillier than she expected.
We didn't feel it at all. Did you feel it? Did you feel the cold at all?
I was pretty chilly. I wore my mom's wedding dress, and it was lace.
Yeah.
And they got married in late October, so it's pretty darn close, similar time of year. And so the air comes through a lot more easily, right?
So you're saying you were checking the temp? Were your thermometers going off?
Yes, very much. Yep.
So everybody else was shivering. I wasn't. It's that Norwegian blood. Big veins.
Yeah.
You're German, so Austrian.
Yeah, I don't know what. And we were in the mountains, so otherwise it would have kicked in or something. Needed altitude.
If we're in the Alps, yeah.
So.
And then I would have been singing, "The hills are alive."
So yeah, that was and our at the time or now brother and sister-in-law, my brother and sister-in-law, they just had a baby, and so Donna was, I think it sounded like really excited to have a little project to do, and decorated for the wedding, which was super sweet and nice, because that's not my thing, and it was really nice to have someone who was excited about it and very tastefully done.
So you're saying you're a little bridezilla?
I think I'm the opposite of bridezilla. Yeah. The closest I got was picking out flowers. Okay, this is the most shit I'll talk about.
Part of the story.
Family.
Did you just say SHIT?
Sorry, we'll have to rate this one explicit.
We might have underage listeners.
So, my parents said that they would pay for flowers, so it was great. Okay, I think it was coming to $500, $600. This was 20 years ago. Maybe that would cost twice as much these days with inflation. That I word that.
For your first daughter's wedding, your oldest daughter's wedding, first one to get married.
Yeah, and so I was like, I'd like this and this, and nothing extravagant. I was just doing like a mixed bouquet, so it wasn't like I want all calla lilies, and it was $2,000.
Right. I need 400 rose bushes.
Yeah, and it was just simple, like my bouquet. I think a little something more significant for my sisters and the moms, and it was maybe a few table arrangements.
Well, it would have been two table arrangements.
And so, my mom was like, I don't, do you really want that? I don't think this. And it was just like at the start of any resistance. And we had already been dealing with some SHIT from them.
Shite!
Starting.
Say it like an Irishman, shite.
I should.
You can, because then it's not flagged as English.
I am going to do that.
Do it.
Yes.
Culturally appropriate that language, Tara. Shite.
Is that okay.
I just can't believe the shite we went through.
I think that's a little more Scottish.
Well,
anyways,
hey, Sean Connery, come on, give some cred. I'm working it.
So I said, now this is, a weird ultimatum, but I'm like, it's going to be what I want, or I'm going to pay for it. And I think it kind of illustrates a lot of what I was going through.
You are so good at ultimatums.
Oh my God. But it worked. So I think that probably illustrates the dynamic of the family.
Yeah.
That is actually the weirdest ultimatum that works.
It's going to be what I want, or I'm paying for it. That's it. I'm putting my foot down right in this shite.
So we, that was that.
So you got your flowers.
I got my flowers.
She paid for them.
Yeah, I think, they paid for them, and it all worked out. And here we are, 20 years later.
21 in November.
So, another topic. Okay. So, not to brag, but I chose and got this vehicle. Okay.
Oh,
so
yes,
just a reminder, it's the Sequoia TRD Sport. It's pretty awesome. I made a great choice.
Are you car shaming me?
No, but I think it's hilarious, because I think if I were to be stereotyped, and like because I just saw a woman drive by in, I think, a BMW X3.
Yep.
And I think that would be the assumption, like if you ask someone,
if we put our two cars out front of the house, and we walked out and we were talking to people, and I said, I'm going to get in my vehicle, Tara, you get in yours. And then we asked people if they didn't know, which one do you think is mine? They would say the TRD, obviously.
Yeah.
The big Toyota has got to be John's, and the small X1 has got to be Tara's.
But I've got some stuff to make up for him. So.
Well, we needed a vehicle to haul the camper.
And apparently we needed.
You needed a business vehicle.
Haul other shite.
Or shite.
And like picking up our water.
Well, we're hauling 5-gallon glass jugs of water right now, 8 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's I think I to like you would borrow Alex's truck every once in a while, so apparently we needed something bigger to haul our shite. You turned it off?
No, it's not off. There we go. Figuring out the locking system on the Squatchota is something else.
Oh, we're still recording.
Yeah,
Okay,
I don't know
so-
if we'll do it all the way in, depending on how many people are in there.
I think it. So I imagine I would be stereotyped as like Alexis, or like the little.
Is that your
BMW.
name? Is that your? That's your
No.
name.
It's
That's your
not
dancer
much.
name,
No.
Alexis,
No.
or just Lexus, not
So-
without the A.
There's a part of me that kind of likes to be, like, a little off stereotype.
Here we are at Ruby's Roost. Ruby's Roost in Victoria, getting cafe. Cafe. Woo! Morning. Good. How are you?
That gives you a little more relaxed time.
Large mocha breve.
Okay. Surprise, surprise.
I'm doing something different today.
Yeah, this one comes down to for 60%.
Let's go with. Let's see what time we'll be back. If I bring. What's up?
It'll be too
Man.
long.
Awesome.
Is it?
Well, no.
No.
Last night, sorry.
Not in the backwoods. Yeah.
But it was for the last 2 days. It was
Take
like
4 chocolate covered donuts.
no,
Yeah.
none, zero.
Anything else? You just give them.
2 raspberry scones.
Tristan,
Bring some back for the guys.
But you had a hell of a cool Let's Go start.
We had huge hailstorms last night. I didn't go pick them up. They were almost 3/4 the size of golf balls.
I guess our houses are made by 2x6, so it's hard to tell. It sounded like they were this big, so.
Yeah, it's really windproof and
But
everything.
you guys had a great Let's Go start, right? Because we sat here like,
Yeah,
A lot of electronics.
it was north of us.
yeah, I hadn't ridden for a month.
Yeah.
And I went with my buddy that stays trained. He was just supported for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But he actually somewhat waited for me, but the hurt on me so bad. It was just
We rode Lowry on the tar trails the other day for the first. That was our first ride. Got to do something. Oh, we just went out to Lowry.
You had a nice Easter?
Yeah.
Easter was great. Yeah.
Did you have ham? You guys have ham?
Oh no, no beef or pork for 30 years for me.
So, oh yeah, you guys.
Yeah.
So, do you do something with that?
It's my Muslim Jewish heritage.
No big deal.
I ate a lot of ham for you. I ate your portion of ham.
Nice. Hey, there's too many pigs on the planet. They got to be eaten. You know. I mean, yeah. That's my saying of the day. I'm gonna get a T-shirt that says that. There's too many pigs. Eat them.
Yeah, there you go. Ham for Easter's the
Thank you.
You guys host?
We're living with my parents.
So we looked at our in-laws.
Hey.
I got out of bed.
Moving back in with mom and dad. It's nothing to be ashamed of.
So it was nice. It was it's like easy. We got up, we went to church, came back, and we just
Yeah. We did that while we were preparing our place. Now we lived with my parents.
Yeah, okay.
So
With
yeah.
our cats.
Yeah, with our
Oh, we
cats.
went
we
with
have-
the dog and 2 cats.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
4 people, dogs, cats.
That's the hardest thing
They have a
sometimes to
dog.
figure out what are the animals gonna do.
Yeah. Fortunately, they didn't have their kitty at that point. That would not have worked.
Yeah, it's different with if you have. Luckily, they have a dog and not a
Yeah.
cat.
Yes.
And even their dog is amazingly is getting along with our dog. Because he's
Yeah.
an ankle biter, their dog is.
Yeah.
They're getting along. Well, now even the cats are starting to kind of want. Their basement is nice. Like he's got his office and stuff down there. It's not finished, but it's nice.
And the dog,
But now,
after the one cat,
Yeah.
and the one cat, it's like, he survived a cat attack, so he just stopped. He's like, yeah.
The cats are like, what?
He was up on the
Well,
stool
one
with
cat
his
is
paws,
scared.
his paws tucked in.
he's just like ears back. He's like,
He doesn't even get in this position to bite
Yeah.
the dog.
like,
The
you're
cat can take care of itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just fine.
But so the cats are starting to wander a little bit more as long as their dog is. So I think in another few days, the cats will even be able to come and go upstairs to not be stuck downstairs.
And the one
Yeah.
cat's huge, it takes off.
She's
And our other
she's
cat
more
used to be
scared.
13, he's about 9, but he's a wily old, he's like 16 now, he's a wily old
15,
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's cute.
No front paws.
He
but
was
full on.
outdoors, so he's like stuck in, and we put him on a harness outside.
Oh, cute.
Oh,
And he's an outdoor cat, so he's like, oh, this is nice, thank you.
Yeah,
but-
yeah.
I can handle
So
this.
did you hear about the racist trees?
The who what?
Racist trees?
The racist trees.
Did you hear about it?
No, racist trees.
Council member somewhere in some city. It made national news.
Yeah.
Because I think when they hung some of the black people in the lake.
Oh, I get it.
It's
Yeah.
a
I saw
cruise.
Yeah.
That's an old deer hanging tree. So he's like, the trees are racist.
Oh my God.
But what they were talking about, like, somebody said that in the council meeting, and nobody stood up and just said, "You're stupid."
Yeah.
And then the whole Georgia thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But-
No. Did you
but-
see Major League Baseball moved? They moved the All-Star game out of Georgia because of the voter ID. They moved it to Colorado where there's voter ID.
Oh, no. And
But
then, you know what else?
you have
They
to
signed
use-
a contract with China 2 days ago.
Oh yeah, of course. And you have to use your ID to pick up your baseball tickets.
Oh, and then
Oh, go ahead.
where Biden's from, Delaware?
I don't know.
Delaware.
Yeah, Delaware. Yeah. All right. So we're outside. It got a little noisy and a little conflagrated in there, so I had to. Yeah. Well, you know, it's. I don't know how I made that word up, but it's just my incredible mind.
It's amazing.
So we're out.
But that Lexus looks like it's been in a car.
Yep, that's an old stripper. That's
Had a few run-ins.
it's a few miles on that one. All right. So that's our favorite coffee spot. Stop and get what's hot. Tara didn't get a kombucha,
No, I didn't.
but I got donuts and scones. They make their own donuts. They make their own scones. They're pretty good. And the donuts are baked. They're not fried. So yeah. Baked, not fried. You're not going to hear KFC saying that. They're like, do you guys have ham for Easter? And I'm like, no, haven't eaten ham or beef for 32 years now.
Yep.
I said that's my Muslim Jewish heritage. It's my Middle Eastern heritage. I'm an old school Jew.
Well, I hear from some Jewish people that it's the food. That as long as you're doing the right food, then you can claim your
Oh,
Jewish
really?
heritage.
Wow. How did I know that?
Yeah.
There we go. Must be that remote viewing.
A Jewish lady told me that one time, and I'm like, well, it sounds like the equivalent of a sprinkle Christian, which I don't think she had heard of. So we both learned something new that day.
Did you explain that to her? What a sprinkle Christian is?
I think the topic quickly moved on because it seemed like to that person that we were getting too much into the religious talk, which, wasn't. So I started to.
I don't think you can ever talk too much religion. Do you?
Yeah, I think there are
Really?
people that. Yeah.
You remember when we got invited to that Bible study talk with one of your friends from high school?
Yeah.
And we went,
Yep.
and you were like, what? And I'm like, yeah, let's go. This will be entertaining.
I was surprised that you wanted to go, but then I understood later what you meant by entertainment.
Nobody there knew shit. It was like, what do you guys do? Just sit around and talk about things you like, or do you actually read the Bible and talk about it and study it? But they were all caught up on dominion over animals and all this stuff, and animals don't have souls, and I taught them a thing or two. Woo!
Yeah.
Worked it up.
I think it was more the dogma of religion rather than the study of, the Bible
And no understanding of metaphysics. I mean, you're worshiping a God. You're worshiping a triune God, right? And all throughout the Bible, it's metaphysics. And it's like, so if God is talking to a human, that's metaphysics. You got to figure out how that works. Nowadays, we got people saying, well, they're all on psychedelics and they're all having trips and all this. Well, so what? So what if they were? I wouldn't take psychedelics to get in touch with the metaphysical. And I don't need to, but people don't understand that. Sorry, I just took a bite of my donut. Because they don't try. They don't study anything. They don't even meditate. They'll be like, oh, I meditate. But then if you really nail it down, maybe like an hour a month. I mean, you got to do it daily. Anything you want to be good at, you got to get into a routine. Right?
Yeah, we have to.
Still recording.
Yes. Well, my mind is actually starting to go to work and the stuff I need to get done. So it's a little hard to kind of riff.
Control your mind, Tara. Let go of that shite.
Well,
I have an osprey up in the nest.
good. That other nest platform was.
It was destroyed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was either they took it down or they destroyed it. I don't know. Maybe the eagles moved in and had a fight with the osprey.
Oh.
I don't think they destroyed the nest, but who knows?
But do they build a new one each year, or do they remodel?
Well, the boards were down.
Yeah.
No, I don't think they might clean it out. I don't know. I would think the nests are pretty clean because they're just out in the open. They get rained on and all that. They got a natural
They're clean until they start decaying.
nest wash. Well, they're made of sticks and stuff.
Do you
So
think the same osprey come back?
I
Or
think,
do we have to go read the plaque?
yeah, we might have to read the plaque.
Yeah.
I would think so because most birds nest in the areas that they were born. They're geolocated from where they're born. All right, we got dead air.
Yep.
So what'd you get out of stopping at the coffee shop?
I think Bob and Linnea are really nice people. And I think they're people who genuinely care about people.
They love talking to their customers.
Yeah.
Me and Bob always talk politics. We get into it right away. Is there a napkin in here? All right. So this was probably our most sporadic podcast ever.
Mm-hmm. So you suggested we end the wedding story.
Oh yeah,
and
we should
so
wrap it up.
What do you think is the wrap up?
Well, the moral of the story is don't spend a whole lot on your wedding. It's only one day. You know, if let's say I had $1 million in the bank, I still would not have had a big wedding. I probably would have taken you and the people we wanted with us somewhere. Like, let's say we would all have gone to Hawaii, and then we would have gotten married on a beach, and there would have been flowers and luau, and luau,
Yeah.
And we would have probably, that was a reference to a movie that nobody could see what I was doing, but it was
Yes.
funny to us.
We have movie references.
That was Forgetting Sarah Marshall reference, the movie. So if you want to watch it, it's funny. And I would have taken people on a trip. There's no way I would have spent $50,000 here in America to have 400, or anywhere to have 400 people come to our wedding.
You could have easily spent $50,000 in non-America Hawaii flying people.
I would have. I could have in non-America Hawaii. Well, you go talk to a Hawaiian, okay?
Yeah, and
I'm all about the indigenous people. You know that.
oh yeah.
So don't get me
So,
going on my social justice
You're
warrior
probably-
rant.
You're pretty generous because I would have still had a small wedding here, and like a small group, great, amazing food, beautiful, small, quaint location, and then I would have just said, let's just me and you go to Hawaii.
Well, me and you we would have had to get married over Zoom then, because I'd be in Hawaii ready to get married. You'd have a nice wedding here.
I think we'd be able to compromise. Yeah, you'd be like, oh, that you don't want to take 20 people to Hawaii? Okay.
Well, they don't have to stay with you the whole time. You know what you do? You bring them in like 3-4 days before, and you get to do all the fun stuff, right? You show up, you have the wedding, and then you send them home, right? If they want to stay, it's on their own dime after the 3-4 days, right? And then you got your honeymoon. But you don't, and then you go to a different island because you don't want to run into anybody that stays while you're on your honeymoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
What's the guests and fish smell after 3 days? What is that?
Yeah.
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 So that would have been my thing I would have done if I had $1 million in the bank. Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Well, that's pretty generous of you.
Sounds like Tara's kind of done with any kind of retort. There's no retort.
Well,
She's
it's
got to
different.
think.
There, we're driving. And
Everybody
so
stop interrupting. Tara's got to think.
I'm enjoying the view, for one.
Okay, I'll
usually
put my
when
pants back on
When we're doing this, we're sitting
so you can
and
focus.
facing each other.
Would you like to
And
focus?
It's, if I'm not working, it's actually nice to enjoy the scenery and stuff.
Yeah, that is nice.
So, looking forward to a green haze being on. Well, there's some trees that I think have
All right.
buds.
Hey, everybody, click stop now because nothing else is going to happen after this, even though we might keep recording. And they'll look at the time frame and it'll be like another hour on there.
Okay. Adios. Have a great day.
Hasta la vista, baby.